Hi, it's Missy Travis from IP&C Consulting. I want to talk to you today about your quantitative risk assessment. So, you can have a different risk assessment than the one that I'm going to go over today, but I want to go over just some of the main concepts of how to develop a risk assessment, how to update your risk assessment, and how you come up with the different scores. So, this is my quantitative risk assessment. And you'll see over here on the left side, I have the different categories and risk events. And I have mine grouped by different sections. So this first section is surveillance data. And then the next grouping here is the probability. So how likely is it that this risk will occur? The severity or risk of failure. So how severe will it be should it occur? And then how prepared are you if it occurs? And then that's how you get your risk score, because each one of these responses is going to give you a number that is going to play into your score. So if you look at your surveillance data, and this is just made up data that I put on this risk assessment as an example, you can see I have Cardi's here, C. diff, CLABSIs or central line associated bloodstream infections, MRSA, VRE, multi-drug resistant organisms. And you could add different categories, whatever is relevant for your particular group or facility. And then what you need to do is go through. So let's look at CAUTI's first. How likely is it that the risk will occur? Then you rate it here. And where do you get this rating from? How do you know that it's low? Well, the reason I know that it's low is because I'm looking at my infection prevention data from the prior year. That's how I know what my risk is. Then how severe will it be should it occur? So there's a chance there could be some permanent harm here. You might rank this differently just depending on your past experience. And then how prepared is your organization for this to occur? And then you put on here if it's none, poor, fair, or good. So I would say if you have a plan in place and you feel like your staff are compliant with the plan, then you could probably rate that good. If you don't have a plan in place, or maybe you have a plan in place, but your staff are not compliant with the plan, you might go with fair. So this part of the risk assessment is somewhat subjective based on the data and experiences that you have seen over the past year or so. And I do recommend with your risk assessment that you do this with a group, or at least send your completed document to a group and make sure that they agree with how you have rated each of these risk categories or risk events. And so I want to talk about, since we are in a pandemic right now, I do want to talk about where you need to add that in your risk assessment. And so I would add it right here under communicable disease epidemic. Um, Actually, it's right here. Let's see. I would put it under geography and community. And so I ranked this high, communicable disease epidemic influenza. So what you could do is change this out with communicable disease pandemic and then add COVID-19. And then of course you would score it just like you do your other categories. That's where I would put it on here. So wherever you are putting disasters, that's where I would put this. Disasters or major communicable diseases. That's where I would put that in. You could also add some things for emergency preparedness, whatever you see going on right now in response to the pandemic, you could put that under emergency preparedness and do the ratings in that way. So I hope this has been helpful to give you an idea of how to complete your risk assessment. If you are interested in this particular risk assessment or in learning more about how to complete a risk assessment, I am going to put in the comments below how you can get to my website where I have a class called the IP Mentor, where I walk you through how to do a quantitative risk assessment, how to do your infection prevention plan, how to set your goals, and how to do your annual evaluation. And as part of that class, you would get this risk assessment that you see right now as a Word document that you could customize for your facility. So I hope this has been helpful, and I will see you soon. Thanks for joining me today.